Thank you for all your support. Jungkook's jealousy towards Taehyung is often a topic of conversation among Jungkook fans. However, this is not the usual jealousy that arises from a sense of ownership or insecurity. Instead, Jungkook's jealousy is more spontaneous and unpredictable, as if he himself is unable to predict or control his reactions. His sudden changes in facial expressions, to the interventions he makes when others interact with Taehyung, have sparked many theories among fans. Interestingly, these episodes sometimes occur without clear context. There is no real reason why Jungkook seems disturbed or territorial, which makes his reactions feel more genuine than something planned in advance. These moments spark the perception that their relationship may be more than just a simple friendship, given the intensity of their interactions and gazes that are unusual for groupmates. I want to talk about Jungkook's jealousy, which, although it has developed with his maturity, still appears at certain moments, albeit in a more veiled way. My point here is not to endorse or criticize anything, but rather to highlight how Jungkook's reactions often seem natural, not an attempt to mark territory. Instead, the jealousy seems to come naturally, betraying his feelings when it comes to Taehyung. Let's start in June 2014. At that time, during a photo shoot, the BTS members were asked to choose who they wanted to work with. Jungkook, as usual, immediately chose Taehyung as his choice. However, Taehyung mentioned that he wanted to work with Namjoon. When reminded that he could choose more people, Taehyung added Jimin and Hobi to his choices, without once mentioning Jungkook. In the end, Taehyung and Namjoon were paired, much to Taehyung's delight. Although Jungkook seemed fine, the smile on his face slowly faded. Jungkook still tried to pretend that he was still happy, but the truth was far from it. When Taehyung mentioned Jimin as his second choice, Jungkook looked very disappointed, chuckling in disbelief. Although he tried to enjoy the moment with the others, whenever he saw Taehyung, his smile would disappear, and he would go back to pretending that everything was fine. On January 16, 2015, BTS attended an interview on a radio station in China. They were asked to choose the member they were closest to. Jungkook, without hesitation, wanted to choose Taehyung, but when he saw Taehyung choose Jimin, Jungkook changed his answer and chose himself. The decision was clearly made out of disappointment, a reaction that Taehyung immediately caught. Afterwards, Taehyung said that if he could choose two people, he would choose Jungkook, even though he had previously chosen Jimin. This seemed to be an attempt to ease Jungkook's disappointment, showing how Taehyung realized how important it was for Jungkook to be chosen by him. Fast forward to March 2017, when behind the scenes of Show Champion, Taehyung mentioned that he wanted to play online games with Jungkook in the spring. When Jungkook was asked the same question, instead of choosing Taehyung, he said he wanted to go cycling with all the members on the Hangang River. This response seems to go against Taehyung's expectations, who then jokes that Jungkook's response made him feel nothing. This moment seems to mirror Jungkook's disappointment on previous occasions, when Taehyung preferred other members. At this point, Taehyung's relationship becomes more complex, as shown by the following incident. When Taehyung talks about a promise he made with his friends from the drama Hwarang, Jungkook begins to show signs of jealousy. As Taehyung continues to praise his closeness with the Hwarang Hyungs, Jungkook becomes increasingly uncomfortable. Eventually, he decides to stand up and walk away, not wanting to hear any more about Taehyung's relationships with other people. This behavior is very different from Jungkook's usual attitude, showing how deep his feelings are. From all of this, it is clear that Jungkook's jealousy of Taehyung arises not from a desire to dominate, but rather from a natural reaction that arises from the depth of his relationship with Taehyung. This shows that, regardless of how their relationship develops, there are deeper emotions that are difficult to hide. Taehyung reflexively glanced at Jungkook, while Yoongi also looked into the situation. However, this time Hobi became the main choice. On the other hand, with his typical joke, Yoongi said that the person he likes the most is himself, so he chose himself. But what's interesting here is how Taehyung noticed Jungkook's choice and changed his choice so that Jungkook wouldn't. This reminded Jungkook of when Jungkook wanted Taehyung to choose him, but Taehyung instead chose Jimin as the second choice and J-Hope as the third choice. On this occasion, Jungkook's true feelings were implied from his response. Although disappointed, Taehyung did not give up. He tried again by changing his answer. This time, he said that one day in spring, he wanted to go hiking to see cherry blossoms with BTS. However, his answer sounded less sincere. The observant Yoongi teased him, saying that Taehyung was just making up an answer so as not to look awkward. When Taehyung started to explain where the Cherry Blossom Festival was, Jimin suddenly mentioned Taehyung's closeness to his friends from the drama Hwarang, who later became known as the Wooga Squad. Jungkook took advantage of the moment. He teased Taehyung, suggesting that Taehyung should spend spring with the Hwarang Hyungs if he loved them that much. Clearly, the staff realized that there was jealousy within the group regarding Taehyung's close relationship with the Hwarang Hyungs. While teasing, Jungkook said that Taehyung often talked about how much he loved the Hwarang Hyungs while looking at the BTS members' faces. This seemed to reveal Jungkook's feelings that were increasingly difficult for him to hide. As Taehyung continued to talk about the promise he made with his friends from Hwarang, Jungkook seemed to become disinterested and jealous. Unable to bear hearing anymore, Jungkook stood up and walked away from the conversation, choosing to sit separately from them. This was very unusual for Jungkook, who was usually more reserved. When Jimin again made fun of Jin's age, claiming that he was too old to graduate, Taehyung quickly intervened, firmly defending Jin. He reprimanded Jimin and convincingly stated that Jin was actually in his prime. His attempt to make Jin feel better worked, while Jungkook, who had been smiling earlier, began to observe the situation carefully. As Taehyung half-hugged Jin to calm him down, Jungkook watched his every move closely, his smile slowly fading. His eyes shifted from Jin to Taehyung, looking at him who was still staring at Jin intently. It was as if the world had stopped for a moment for Jungkook. As Hobie complimented how Jin's face still looked young, Taehyung unexpectedly put his arms around Jin's neck, looking at him warmly. Jungkook, who was triggered by his instincts, suddenly moved closer, trying to divert his attention. With his mouth half open, he suddenly commented that a taxi driver had once mistaken them for the same age. However, when he turned around again, Taehyung was still staring at Jin. Jungkook, who was a little nervous, awkwardly raised his hand to Taehyung's neck, pretending to touch the necklace he was wearing while kissing it, looking for a way to divert Taehyung's focus from Jin.